You guys are having too much
Hello.
fun. You haven't even got started yet. Come on now. Hello?
Hi.
Hi, James.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I want to have as much fun as you guys are having right now. That's what I want.
You gotta come here and hang.
Hey man, I may have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm here today. I'm here today with Jason June, Sonora Reyes, and Abdi Nazemian, and they're going to talk about discuss Pride Month and the importance of sharing books centering on LGBTQ plus youth. Good morning to all three of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us, and our viewers are going to have as much fun as you're having right now. So let's get started. As authors, why is it important for you to get out there and meet readers like you'll be doing during the Epic Pride Tour?
Well, you know, I mean, we're in a time of increased book banning, and there's a lot of people out there telling our community that they should go back into a closet. And I think it's really important to show people that that's not what we're going to do, that we're here to share our stories, we're here to build bridges, create art that increases empathy in the world, and to tell the young people of the world we're here to represent them, and we're here as sounding boards to listen to them as well.
100%.
Yeah, I also agree.
This is kind of off the beaten path. Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think, where does this come from of banning books and silencing people? Where does this come from?
I think it's coming because we have this, I've been saying for years now, we're in this golden age of queer literature where every single year we're getting more and more letters of our delicious rainbow alphabet soup represented from more racial backgrounds, from more religious backgrounds, from more socioeconomic backgrounds. We're getting more and more and more offerings every year. And that's freaking out our naysayers and our opponents, that our voices are being heard and that they're also being successful. We're getting bestsellers and award winners. And they're trying to stop that, because if we have those kind of accolades and that kind of success, that somehow is interpreted as a threat to them, which we're just trying to be humans here with them.
Yeah, I think that when you're used to being the only voice that needs to be, that is heard, and then someone else encroaches on your space, even if they don't have as big of a platform as you, even if their voice isn't heard as loudly as yours, it still feels like they're taking something away from you. So I think a lot of people feel like something is being taken away from them because they've historically had the platform and they've historically had the voice to be able to say, like, to be the sole people being like, this is my story, and not had to empathize with other stories. So I think that is just something that, people are going to have to get used to.
And I just want to say on a personal note, I'm a parent. I have two 11-year-old kids. I know that the experience of having kids is one of anxiety and fear. There's so much risk out there, and I think people are afraid and they're being manipulated to believe that queer people are the ones causing harm, and we're not. I share your concerns for the well-being of children. We are here because we want children to feel accepted and whole.
Right. We're
not taking anything away. It's all additive. It's all love. We're trying to create unity here, so let's have a dialogue.
Yeah.
It can be so important for kids and teens to see themselves reflected in the books they read. Were there books that helped you in similar ways when you were growing up?
It's been funny, we've been talking about this a lot, where when we were teens, there weren't a lot of options out there for queer readers. For me personally, I could count on less than one hand the books that I felt were actually my experience. And then those books, while important, were also about like the pain of coming out. So it really wasn't until my adulthood that I found books that I really connected with. Books like Stephen Salvatore's Can't Take That Away or Johnny Garzavia's 1500 Miles from the Sun. Great explorations of the queer experience.
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't like reading when I was a kid because I didn't think that I was good at it. I thought that I was too dumb to read. And I think a lot of that just comes with having it being from an academic point of view. Reading is always done in school, and I didn't know that I could do it for fun until I discovered fan fiction. So fan fiction was really what I found that I related to these characters, and I found that's where a lot of people inserted queerness into a lot of characters that maybe were ambiguous. So I saw myself represented in there a lot. And then it wasn't until later on that I started reading like books again. The first book that I really felt represented by was Zoraida Cordova's Labyrinth Lost. That one I really liked.
Yeah, I mean,
it's interesting.
Oh.
Go ahead, please. No, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say I wrote a book called Like a Love Story about my adolescence, and it's being marketed as historical fiction. So I'm the old person here, and there was just so little. There was so little out there. But in college, I did discover authors like James Baldwin and Armistead Maupin, and a whole host of queer storytellers who were doing this. And I do think we need to honor those who really broke the ground that we now walk on as well.
Mm-hmm. Why does it feel that the LGBTQ movement, the civil rights movement, women's rights movement, any type of minority voice has the same issues when it comes to voicing their opinions? Do you agree with this?
It's such a hard question because I feel like it's so nuanced.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of overlap with a lot of the issues, but of course some things are going to, it's like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Like, like we're going to have a lot of overlap. We're going to face a lot of the same issues. There's going to be a lot of the same pushback. But at the same time, there are some things that are unique to each movement, like things that some demographics like have to face certain problems that like others will never understand. But at the same time, I do feel like, I would hope that we would all be able to kind of like see that like, okay, like I know what it's like to be, oppressed or a minority, and so do you. So like maybe we can like find common ground that way, even if our experiences aren't necessarily the exact same.
Exactly.
It sounds like that what you're talking about, the old school regime feels like their pedestal is cracking because everybody's climbing and voicing and being heard, and they are scared to death. That's what it sounds like.
Well, but that's nothing new. I mean, in my new book, Only This Beautiful Moment, there's a whole segment that takes place in the 1930s in Los Angeles, and that was an era where they had what was called the pansy craze, and all the old Hollywood stars would go see drag queens and drag kings on stage, and they were quite famous. It was the era of Marlene Dietrich, and the response to that was to criminalize it. So, anytime drag or queer life has become popular, the opposition tries to criminalize it. This is history, and I think, we study history so that we can avoid repeating the worst of it, but also so we can hopefully learn from the best of it, learn from the activists who took it on. We are now in another era where we're thriving in some ways, and because of that, we are seeing record amounts of laws targeting us. So we have to learn from those who figured out how to fight back when it's happened, because it's happened time and time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jason, your new book, Riley Weaver Needs a Date, explores how labels can simultaneously limit and liberate us.
Yes.
What can we learn from it?
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Labels limit and liberate us, and that's the overriding theme of Riley. And it's to remind people that labels are great. It's really amazing when we can find the language to describe ourselves. But ultimately, those labels are meant to be a tool to help others connect with us that might not necessarily share that label and are looking for ways to help connect with you. And so using those labels as a bridge of connection and saying, hey, even though we share these differences, let's not take that label as a wall, as a way to mean keep each other out. It's meant to be, let's come together and talk about ways we can relate.
Sonora, your book, The Luis Ortega Survival Club, tells that many young people still face challenges due to their orientation. Tell us about Ariana and what she had to face.
In this book, Ariana was assaulted before the book starts, so she deals with the aftermath of that during the story. And a lot of her issues actually don't necessarily come from her like sexual orientation, but from just like the aftermath of this event that happened, or from the fact that she has selective mutism. She's autistic, so she doesn't like talk that much, and so she has to she teams up with like an anonymous pen pal to like get revenge, and basically like it's just about how she navigates makes her own happy ending due to what happened, and learning that she does deserve to have a happy ending. So,
Abdi, talk about your book, Only This Beautiful Mom.
Only This Beautiful Moment is it's a multi-generational story about 3 Iranian men in the same family, and it takes place in the 1930s, the 1970s, and present day in both Los Angeles and Tehran. And it's very much about how these 3 men, grandfather, father, and grandson in this family, have been robbed of true intimacy because of the secrets they've kept that have to do with their queer history, but it's also about how their lives have been shaped, how the personal was shaped by the political, by both anti-queer legislation here and in the Middle East, and also by the revolution, by American intervention in Iran. So it's kind of a sweeping family saga.
Abdi, I have to apologize to you because on here it says Only This Beautiful Mom, and it's actually Only This Beautiful Moment.
It is moment, and ironically, it's all about dads. It's all.
Oh man, I've been talking with Jason June, Sonora Reyes, and Abdi Nazemian, talking about Pride Month, the importance of sharing books centering on LGBTQ and youth. All 3 of you, thank you so much. First of all, for not only being on the show, but being courageous and being voices in the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.